My name is Megan Alderson. I have a forward uterus and I'm acting up.
Hello. My name is Jordan. I have 15 piercings. I'm long-sighted and I am acting up. Yeah. Megan, I love your little hello. what
I don't know. Why not? We don't have a intro, so I gotta shake things up around these bitches.
That is our intro. Do you want to tell everyone why you know you have a forward uterus?
Guys, I finally got the coil, and they said I've got. They're like, we need to
which
check.
one's applause?
I don't fucking know. We can see what that is. Yay!
Congrats.
Thank you.
Love that for you.
First day really painful, but now I'm all
5
good.
years of not having a baby. Woo! Megan, you had a recall today.
I did.
Woo! So much to celebrate. Would you like to share?
It was really fun. Obviously I don't know when I'm gonna hear back, but it was a good experience. Short film.
Gorge.
But it'll be at the BFI festival would be pretty sick. Yeah. The concept is really sick as well. Something like you didn't really hear about.
No incest.
No incest, unfortunately.
No chronically underpaying the crew. Wow, that must be so nice.
So yeah, I'm gonna hear back on that, and then I'll keep you guys up to date.
My fingers will be crossed. Everyone's fingers will
Everything
be crossed.
should be crossed.
Gorgeous.
And you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So today's episode, ladies and gentlemen.
It's an exciting one. It's a big one.
Are you ready?
It's a monumental first.
We might have a guest.
Oh! We do have a guest. I'm so excited. We've been wanting to have guests on this from the beginning because obviously, as we've
there's only so much we can talk about. We're about getting
so
boring.
much we can talk about. There's a very limited lens that we can shed as the people that we are.
Yes.
Basically, you might get bored of us. So
I'm already bored of us.
I'm bored.
Thank you.
But so we have a guest on today to shed some light on their experiences in the industry, different avenues of the industry,
very
and
different
all that good stuff.
to what we're doing as well. So that will be fun to delve down into that.
And it also doesn't hurt that this person is one of our friends.
Yeah,
because we just want to have all our friends on our podcast.
Yeah.
So,
do you want to introduce yourself?
We need an ident, please.
Please, go on.
Have you unmuted the microphone?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just checking.
Hello. My name is Rhys Tinney. They hang down to my ankles.
No. No.
And I'm acting up.
Yay! Hi, Rhys.
Hello.
Excited. Rhys, would you like to tell everyone how you ended up here today?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I can legally even go into that. But we're currently at a hotel in Windsor, escaping life. Yeah, which is fantastic actually.
Yeah.
An unnamed
Why are
drama
we
school.
friends?
Yeah,
censored. That first time, Jordan said the name first time.
I've said the name. Like,
oh no, I heard.
I've had to edit that out.
I heard.
I thought you
that
said
on
I
the
heard
last
what she
one.
said. I was like, no, oh my god, I thought I edited it out.
They're coming for us.
Yeah, no names. No, I don't want to catch a case.
We're
Not today.
No.
Maybe another time.
Yeah, do you know? Just tell us what you do. What are you about, bitch?
So, being a dancer primarily, just kind of going up for anything and everything. I think started so late that I was just
that's my view. Like the way you've improved so much since uni is incredible. Well, you've got the determination to improve as well. Like you're always going to dance classes.
It is determination, but it's just the passion for it, I guess, as well, and like being okay with being a student for now and not just constantly having to make money from it.
Explain what you mean by starting late for the people.
Oh, so
these people don't know you, bitch.
Yeah.
Well,
some of them.
Well, I went to a grammar school, which in the Midlands was like kind of a big deal. So I was very academically focused.
Kind of a big deal.
Just not very common, I guess. And amongst like a working class background was like very exciting.
That's what we're all about here.
And,
we're all poor.
You know, no one had gone to uni at my age or like as soon as available, I guess.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of pressure on that to kind of stay academic, and performing arts weren't even on my radar at all. working class, linking into that, couldn't afford like anything other than Freeview. So a lot of the time, during the weekend or half term, I would just sit and watch For Music, all the music videos, just over and over.
I used to like watch MTV or something like that.
Yeah, and it just never really clocked that I saw a lot of like the artistry in that, and was very obsessed with X Factor, which looking back now makes a lot of sense because it used to be like the biggest commercial job around, you know, with Beth Honan and everything. I was very obsessed with that. I used to go to the live tour. Like, mum would always be, get to Christmas, I saw this little envelope and I was like, we're going to Sheffield. And I was like, woo! Cher Lloyd. Obsessed with her, by the way.
I'm going to be Cher Lloyd by Cher Lloyd.
Cher Lloyd. So that's how it kind of started to work its way into my little brain, I guess. And then once, you know, you hit the end of GCSE and everything, you're like, God, what the hell do I want to do in my life?
Yeah.
And I literally was watching, you know, that Royal Family clip on YouTube that went viral, the don't act like just came downstairs. Like, I was a big gamer, so I had this big monitor. It was like late at night, just like putting my face as close to the screen, watching them all dance, and I was like, I think I want to do this. And I literally went downstairs. Mum was watching like Corrie or something, and I was like, I want to dance for a living. And she said, okay.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Well, I think her first thing was like, how the hell? Because, you know, single mum, 3 kids.
Yeah.
It was a struggle, and
oh my God, that's
not exactly accessible.
Whole home in this podcast.
Oh, lovely.
Where's the father?
My people.
That's funny.
So she instantly went to the practical side of, okay, you have 2 years, or even 1 if you want to go do a diploma, if somehow that works out, which you've spoken about before, I know. How are we going to do this financially and practically? Because obviously to get someone to a place of being audition ready within a year or 2 requires a lot of effort and money. Yeah.
A lot of money.
To get that. And that's when I started training with Allen School of Dance, which I can mention because I have nothing but positive things to say about
shout them out.
About Allen School of Dance. It was fantastic. And Tonya, actually Miss Tonya, gave up one of her private slots for me over any of the comp kids that had been begging her for them, just to get me up to scratch. And started going to pop choir, which met some amazing people singing wise, and my drama school teachers just really nurtured my acting side. Just really, definitely Mr. Patman. He was just great. He was just so in it, you know, even at that I did BTEC drama performing arts at sixth form, and he was just so in it, very very much believed in me. That's how I got into the drama school.
I think
now I'm here.
Such a testament to how crucial it is to have teachers that like nurture you, support you, and are genuinely invested in your
I also
success.
think to say even like how many years it's been since, and the fact that you still remember the name is a big thing. Because I don't remember most of my school teacher name. It's because they didn't care about me, so why would I care about them?
I always say, you know, when I win an award, which I will for some capacity, you know, they are the root of...
Actually saying that I've got an award right here.
Well, actually... Perfect. Well, I've got my script right here.
Maybe we'll give you a sticker.
Yeah, I think it always should be credited back to the people that lit that fire, because there's people that can stoke it along the way, but without that initial spark, I just don't think none of us would be where we are. So
incredible.
Yeah.
So how would you describe yourself as an artist now, with the work that you're doing, with the work that you aspire to do? Imagine, obviously, no one knows anything about you or what you're doing, so give us a little
speak to us like we're Tweedledee and Tweedledum. We don't know.
Which we are.
Which we are.
So I think it's definitely, for me, about being as multifaceted within the arts as possible to facilitate and invest in projects that mean something to me or mean something to a lot of people, in terms of whether that's education or just exposing others to a feeling that I hold very close to myself and why I do this in the first place. I'm very much in a stage of development, creatively and skills-wise, and I'm actually loving it. I think it's a really good place to be, because I feel constantly from week to week, sometimes even day to day, that I'm discovering more depth to what we do, especially within dance, and how much dance has lived forever and throughout different cultures, and there's different perceptions of it and different ways that it is monetized or even just appreciated. And especially through work within my companies, which I will shout out, TNG and Company Jinx especially, the emotive release that it gives people is something that kind of got me into teaching, which is what I'm also doing alongside, I would say, kind of
if anyone's
my
in
development.
Scotland anytime soon.
I know, oh
yeah.
In London, I work with an incredible company called At Your Beat, which is run by Joelle, to whom I'm very, very grateful for, and Honey Napolitano for getting me into that scene, because it kind of, I always said I don't want to teach. I don't want to be, sidetracked from, I'm going to book. And actually, there's not too much booking to even be done right now. So working creatively,
don't we know it?
working creatively to teach and, show people that the arts can still be fun at a later age. It's not all about making money, which I think we all get a bit strung up on.
100%.
And that it can teach you transferable skills like body confidence, or even just being able to go on a night out and knowing that you can bust a wine. Like, do you know what I mean?
That's like
just confidence.
Probably the main reason that I don't.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
me too.
I'm not sidestepping in that club. I'm like,
yeah.
crazy.
And a clap.
I think that's what's kind of going on right now, is that I have projects that I'm going up for, and they go well, but it's just not landed just yet. But like I said, I don't think I'm stagnant in a period of development as an artist, but I'm just very much enjoying it. And even if I was to book a job, it would just be more learning, just another learning experience with a paycheck.
Mindset we all should have.
I think it's really nice.
I'm being nice.
Oh my, Megan's being nice.
What the frick?
I think it's really nice. Especially like amongst us specifically, is that we all trained in musical theatre, which is a very specific, obviously when you train in musical theatre you are training in acting and singing and dancing, but it is acting and singing and dancing to serve musical theatre, and mostly under the genre. Obviously they try to teach you as much as possible, but at the end of the day you are there to be trained to be a musical theatre performer, and all of us around this lovely little table
are doing not that
are trying to I don't want to say break away, because I feel like if any of us,
if I had a musical theatre
audition
thing,
I wouldn't be like no, like, but we
found the path that I'd rather go down acting and stuff like that.
Away from it, I guess, but not in like a
not
definitive like I used to do this and now I do that. It's like I was trained to do this, but there's another avenue which I want to learn and go down, and I think it's really nice to hear that. Is there anything you could share on what that process has kind of been like for you, having trained in musical theatre and then trying to go down that commercial avenue?
Well,
have you faced any stigma, would you say, on it? Because obviously
absolutely,
we have the whole musical theatre actors can't act, like it's all hee 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 ha 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 musicals. Would you say there's an equivalent?
Absolutely. I think for me it's still very much a transitional period. I still get projects through within the musical theatre realm that appeal to me because they are more commercially focused. But recently I was in finals for a UK tour for a musical that is very commercial based, but it was a lead singing role, or a cover for one. And of course this is where it kind of blends, because singing, I know, isn't really passion of mine, but because it would mean a small sacrifice to be a part of that project in some capacity, whilst mainly dancing, I think that was why I still took it on. But actually at the moment I'm unrepresented because certain things, well, it was mainly because I don't know if I'm ready to be represented right now, because I definitely am in a stage of kind of transition.
I also think it's a thing of like, you don't always need an agent. It's sometimes good just to have a breath. Like we know a few people who have dropped their agent because they weren't doing them any benefit. And that's okay. You can still find your jobs even without.
100%.
Didn't want to waste either of our time, because I was getting through projects that were extremely theatre, very tits and teeth, and I just didn't want to keep, rejecting these self-tapes or amazing in-person audition experiences when someone else could be on the books that kind of is open to more. Whereas, definitely looking to be more dance focused at the moment. In terms of stigma, as a commercial dancer, at a recent audition, kind of have a name for like going to certain classes where the thing is kind of, the performance is definitely the look down through the eyes, kind of like through your eyebrows, very stern, solid face. A musical
so I'm trying
theatre.
to recreate what they
Megan's
just
doing it right now. And
Wow.
It's really,
like
is it doing it? Is it doing it?
stare.
Thank you.
Goodness, I'm quaking.
You look like a lockjaw. Don't do that into the microphone, please. Back to
I was told recently in a musical theatre audition, kind of walked in the room and obviously was clocked for my Instagram presence within these classes and was told directly.
Oh yeah, do that, of course.
At Rhys Tinney, RHYS TINNEY.
That's kind of nice how you said that. I was like,
just rolls off the tongue.
Yep. Okay, sorry,
I was told, straight away, oh, by the way, we're not looking for a kind of harder face. You need to soften up a little bit. It is musical theatre, even though it's commercial choreography. And it's just really hard.
Like, babe, I hadn't even started yet.
Yeah, maybe just see what I can give you. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, whoa.
I think that's what I mean in terms of versatility and being multifaceted within arts, that I can walk into a certain environment and just switch it up completely. And I think what's so hard about branding is, of course, you get known for one thing. It's really hard to be known as a chameleon within the arts. And it takes a lot of time, even with, famous actors now, for you to not just view them as that one role that you really liked or everyone knew them for. So I'm finding that a really difficult part of the transition because, I feel like there is this thing of musical theatre find commercial people intimidating or just rude, and then commercial people are like, oh god, theatre people are so annoying. And then when you're in that like middle bit where I'm like, I would still go to a Chicago audition, but I'd also want to audition for a music video. It's really hard. Like, it is very strange because you're constantly walking that line, and I think it's just another case of finding your people. And even if that means like that's only one or two people within the field, I mean, just because there's other people like me, that do both. And I just find that wonderful, and I get on with them.
There's no one like you. You're one in a million.
I'm just gonna pause and throw up. So that in terms of the transition, that's hard. I mean, even just walking in and, just a different environment, because I think theatre people will always walk in and they'll just smile and wave at anyone, but that can be just as bad as sometimes what I've experienced in commercial classes where no one even looks at you, but at least they're being upfront
I'm like
about
in a commercial
it. Do you know what I mean?
I'm like, please no one look at me.
Yeah.
Don't glance at me. Don't acknowledge my existence.
I do not be doing any classes.
I'll be fucking up in the corner.
There's both
Don't
like
look at me.
faults between the two worlds. I just think it's hard when you make that jump, and of course like everyone views you, whether you're coming from commercial or musical theatre, like, oh, that's all they'll ever do. Do you know what I mean? And that is reflected in movement quality as well. It's not just like a stigma, but definitely lives there.
All right.
Hey.
So who do you like?
Who do you like more?
Who you got a crush on?
Which one of us is prettier?
It's me.
That's what it's all about. God, nah.
God.
Anyway.
They're acting up.
Right. Rhys.
Hello.
Everyone,
Everybody,
the fans, the people.
there's fans right outside this door right now. I can hear them kicking down the door.
Oh,
Lindsay.
Rhys, we love you. Rhys.
Hello.
For the lovely people out there who don't know, would you like to tell them a bit about your gender identity if you feel comfortable?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
No.
So my pronouns are they, his, hers, and that's been a journey in its own. But I use all pronouns with they preferred, mostly amongst the people that I hold dearest to me, because that's a little bit of extra effort, I guess some people might say. And I do identify as non-binary. I am non-binary rather than just identify. But that's what I am.
Incredible.
That's what I am.
So obviously that is a perspective that is not something that Megan and I can share with our audience base, and would never want to impose our own beliefs on the experiences of non-binary people. So we'd love to hear a little bit about your experience as a non-binary individual in the arts. You can obviously, specifically in the dance community, you'll have such an incredible insight into that, and I know that you have experiences and stories to share within your range of comfort, of course.
So the first thing that I would like to probably kind of give context on is, I think it's a lot to do with your presentation as well, because I know a lot of people that are non-binary, but maybe they present or have been trained in a way that lends into what people might assume their gender to be. Whereas for me, I have always kind of resonated more with a feminine movement quality, and also within my presentation, it's definitely more on the femme side in terms of clothing, heels, makeup, things like that. I mean, obviously it goes between. I think every non-binary person lives in like a slightly fluid place, but yeah, it's just, you know, when you're in a dance class for an hour and a half, you want to look in the mirror and, you know, that is my most confident version of me, you know.
Can't relate.
So
but good for you, good for you, good for you.
Yeah, I mean,
just say good for you.
Good for you.
Yeah,
go Glen Coco. So yeah, that already presents certain challenges within certain environments. Of course, there are classes out there that completely nurture that and almost exist for that sole purpose of come as you are and sell it, you know. And then there are spaces which, quite annoyingly, tend to be ones of casting or higher importance if you are looking to book a job. And these spaces, especially within commercial dance, 90% of the time are looking for a very much binary code of presentation and movement quality. So that being said, if you get grouped in with the boys, you are not wearing anything cropped, you're not wearing any skirts, not wearing heels, you're not wearing makeup, you know, your physique even is kind of criticized to be, you know, more masculine, and your training should lie more in hip hop or like a more masculine, kind of traditionally masculine genre of dance, and is obviously the opposite for female kind of groupings. Even since starting commercial, you do get placed within the two groups often. It's generally, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of girls and all boys at the end. And
I mean, even throughout our training at drama school, we had a whole day of classes that were split male and female.
Yeah, which is really frustrating.
Because, endlessly, because there would be things that you'd want to be
well.
trained in that you'd be like, well, why am I excluded from this if I want to learn? Like, so for example, we would have ballet on that day, and if you were in the girl group, you would get to do point work, and if you're in the male group, you would get to do the big jumps and tours, and it'd be like, well, we're not at the Royal Ballet School, like,
no, 100%.
We aren't training to do this professionally, so why can we not go, well, this is something that I want to learn, this is a skill that I'd like to practice and that would benefit me, why can we not do that? And we'd have dance classes that were just classes, like just training, and I just remember it constantly being like, at the end of the class, like, okay, blonde girls, brunette girls, boys.
It was like some of the girls, no offense, some of the lads were like stronger than the lads. So why couldn't have they done the work of lifting the girls and stuff like
all
that?
Of that stuff?
Some of them men, I was doing air quotes, can, you know, walk better in a heel than a girl can, you know. It's the same thing. It's no,
it's true.
And
like,
I
you
think
do
even
walk
more
better in a heel than me. Like, I mean, it's
yeah, of course.
Yeah,
look
okay.
at you. So I think even more like a direct example of that was like boy day, hip hop, girl day, heels, and which is so annoying because not only now have I, you know, luckily found a way to feel comfortable within a hip hop space and kind of put my own spin on it, because day by day, yes. Like in certain environments, it feels like you're back in the 1940s. But generally, the environments are shifting towards a better place of being blended and being respected as an individual artist without gender identity.
See, I don't know. I don't know this as well. Like, I've obviously hear and it's stuff like that. But again, because I don't identify as non-binary, I don't know the ins and outs. And again, our audition process is very different because you're going into more of the dancing, more of the musical theatre.
There's a lot more in the room.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously our audition process tends to be just self-tape. And then if you get a recall, you're on your own in the room seeing the panel. Whereas
or
with
you
a lot
have
of
one person with you who you're doing that scene
with dance rounds, you're packed into a room with everyone and it's all visual. And even if you know they have your CV with your headshot in front of them, it doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna acknowledge any information that you would like to be acknowledged.
I mean, that can lead me very well onto a story time of when
I'm gonna get my popcorn out.
Don't, that will sound horrible in the microphone.
I'm joking. I need to get comfy for this though. Okay, go.
So I was at my first in-person audition because we graduated close to the end of lockdown. Is that right?
3 years ago.
Yeah, I know. God,
I know.
Hey, none of that.
But anyways, we had just kind of come out of lockdown and auditions were transitioning back from tapes to in-person auditions more regularly. And I was at a big cruise audition for a named musical, like from Broadway. So, you know, and bearing in mind, this is probably the poster flag for queer musicals ever.
I know what you're talking about.
That sound of you swallowing is going to be in that mic.
Ooh.
Sorry, I had to take a gulp.
No. Some people might not mind. But yeah, I was at this audition and it was a casting director that I knew, who I do actually very much enjoy seeing and speaking with now, post these events. As context, I was part of a group chat on Twitter that was built up of trans and non-binary performers, which is great. They were a very essential community for me to have after just kind of transitioning to a person who is non-binary and being a fresh graduate from college as well and being kind of a stranger.
All a bit new,
Is this community still...
I'm not really an active part of it anymore, which is why I wanted to just highlight the importance of it when I was kind of new. Sure. But now I definitely feel like I have a wider viewpoint where, you know, I can look at anyone within the community, including allies, and take on support. Whereas at the time, it felt very much like I just needed to be around people that were directly going through the same things as me.
Yeah, which is so valid.
And luckily, some of those people from the group chat were at this audition.
Nice.
So obviously being in a room full of trans people, queer people for an extremely queer musical, you would think that the room would feel very sensitive, nurturing, loving. It wasn't, unfortunately. We were often referred to as boys, and it was in passing, of course, like most of these things, but there was just a carelessness to it. And I think if you're going to hold that space and be profiting from queer stories, I really feel like the care for your creative team and the performers should be almost too much, you know?
Like you said, for obviously not naming the musical, but if that's what you're bringing to the table, like just have that in mind. Like it's not hard.
No, I really think that if you're going to take that on as a project, it very much exposes the monetization of it just because it's relevant right now, rather than actually caring about the stories of queer people that you're trying to tell, which is not really the whole reason it exists, you know, in the first place. So, that was very much an issue. Lots of upset people, including myself. Group chat that night obviously went off. Absolutely incredible people speaking out on it, arranging.
Is this a private chat or is it like a page type thing?
I think at the time it was advertised as a thread to be like, oh, comment if you would like to join.
So it was like a discourse that like anyone could see if they searched it out.
No. The conversations were all in the group chat, a private group chat. Right. But at the time, anyone could join, but I don't know if it's closed now or I don't know. I think it's more like if you know a person now kind of thing. And
protected space.
Yeah, absolutely, which is important. And someone else at the audition spoke out on it, and I kind of was a testimonial to their experience because I too was there. And they spoke on very directly about the issues that went on within the casting, and then had informed us a few days later that they had arranged a meeting with the casting director to kind of talk about the issues and how they can curate a more inviting and friendly and safe space at their future castings.
Well.
Yeah, I think it's very important to also mention that at the time, rather unfortunately, queer and trans casting was very much a trend, which we have seen die down now a little bit too. But I think people were making an extra effort because of how much activism had occurred with Black Lives Matter, and especially the Black Trans Lives Matter movement within COVID. So coming out of that, we were all kind of seeing each other for the first time, and you know, that activism was still alive in us, but we could physicalize it.
I feel like post-COVID there was such everyone was so invested in activism, rightfully so, due to events that had transpired during lockdown, and also because people had valuable time to put into educating themselves, into learning, into activism. And obviously when the world resumed, everyone held on to that spirit of we're gonna make things better now. And of course, as things do when you get back to normal life, when everyone goes back to normal, working their full-time jobs, it shouldn't be forgotten, but things do, again, it becomes easier for things to be swept under the rug, for things to slowly, so slowly you don't notice them, transition back to what they were before. Essentially, it was a strange time.
Absolutely. Continuing on, after the meeting, had another casting with this casting director who we all actually know.
We're gonna find out after this.
We're going out for dinner.
I walk into the space again. I'm feeling very excited because I found out that it's a commercial round, first of all, for this.
Let's go! There's already confidence
I'm
there. It's like, I can do this. That's nice when you know it's like something you can do at the start.
Walk into the room, see a few people from the group chat. I'm like, hello, girlies. Feeling very comfortable. I'm in my trackies because it said wear something comfortable. I'm like, yes. And this commercial, I'm like,
I was naked. Oh my.
So obviously I'm having a great time. Get to halfway through the first round, and I know that this casting director has had this meeting. They have seen the CVs, the spotlights, we all have our pronouns listed, our identities listed. And the choreographer comes up now and is directly referring to us as men and boys yet again. So I'm like, have a really good feeling about this job. So I'm like, I'm just going to hold my fucking tongue. I'm just going to get through it. I'm going to
you
kill
shouldn't
it.
do, but in that moment you have to,
I was like, do you know what? I'm going to speak about this after the fact, and I'll call them out later. And then my dear, dear friend comes up to me, who not only is a part of this group chat and is also not even graduated from college yet and newly out as non-binary, comes up to me and says, the choreographer keeps referring to us all as boys, and it's just really triggering me, and I can't focus. Oh God, I just saw red. I marched up to the casting table whilst the choreographer was teaching the routine, and just was like, you have had this meeting, you have seen our spotlights, you have seen all of our CVs, so why are you continuing to sit here whilst the choreographer refers to us and misgenders
it's just
us
more
all?
Than the pronouns. It's the history of why you've got to this point as well,
and especially
you said,
if
the
you're gonna
bit
tell a queer story, respect the fucking people who this wouldn't exist without the queer community, and you're not even respecting
and you're
the people
making money
in front
from
of you,
and they're feeling uncomfortable with the person who came up to you. It's they're literally trying not to have a breakdown, but also it's that mental health as well.
Why should they suffer the chance of an opportunity of the lifetime just because of how they identify? They should not be responsible for feeling safe in that room. You should be. And luckily the casting director, so funny trying not to say names,
it's hard, isn't it?
stopped the audition
really
and brought the choreographer over, who is Ukrainian, also speaks German, but also speaks English very well. And as someone who speaks German, I can actually say, yes, the gender lives within the language. But if you know another language, I can speak German and then not try and gender things in English, you know, like if it's a second, third language, like you learn the rules of the language. And if you're coming in and you know that there are queer people within the space, I'm sorry, but if you're hiring that choreographer, they should be able to identify that that's not an okay thing to say. Especially during the time, it was so volatile in terms of gender, and everyone was aware of it. You know, it was a constant talking topic. So I was just like, you know, there's no excuse.
What is going
And
on?
they tried to say at first when I went over to the table before the audition was stopped, you know, they're from Germany and from Ukraine. I was like, it's not an excuse. You're in, you know, you're really actively upsetting someone, and it's just a change of one word.
Yeah, and it's also the lack of being like, even they're sat there excusing like, oh, this person is
absolutely.
German, but that doesn't stop you from still being like, hey,
after
by the
you
way,
know,
like,
a representative of our community coming to have like, you know, a 3-hour discussion with you and educate you on it, and you're just gonna sit there because there's like a slight language barrier. I mean, they're talking English perfectly fine, it's one word, like they should have been briefed. So yeah, anyways, audition gets held, they have a conversation, the choreographer comes back to the front and they apologize, which is wonderful. And then we continue the audition as normal. Oh god, I booked the job, which is great. The end of the audition, obviously I know that I've gotten through, I know that they like me. Don't know if you know this, cruise ship auditions, you're asked at the end to
I don't know,
we don't know.
If you're in a male casting, despite what you identify as or your gender identity, if you're in the boys round, you are asked to take off your shirt for pictures at the end, because some of the shows on board can be topless.
Get your nipples out.
I'm not even going to get into
For
the whole
free?
body image of that.
you can if you want to.
At a separate audition, I was actually told that I needed to do this if I wanted to have a chance at the job, for the casting director to then hear about this, after obviously realising that I was queer, and came in, pulled me aside and said, I am so sorry that you were forced to do that. Do you feel comfortable? And I was like, you're lucky I am, because I know people that definitely wouldn't be.
What about the other people who didn't speak
I know,
out,
and the
like,
afterthought, I mean, where's the preparation? Like, you are in your 30s, 40s, you've been doing this for a while. Everyone higher up in the industry preaches about professionalism, yet that's just such an oversight that nobody else could miss. Like, you know, I don't think that they even deserve to have queer people within the room if you can't cater properly to it and sensitively. And there's no excuse. If you're as professional as you like to hold yourself, do some research, do some planning, you know.
And if you don't, you miss out on working with incredible artists.
And guess what? They're going to go work elsewhere.
They will go work elsewhere. They will not even show you what they are capable of. Exactly.
Yeah, so that's the specific story time. And I actually got to know the choreographer on the job a lot more, and we had lots of discussions about this. And
but that's the thing, isn't it? If you don't talk to people, they won't learn. And it shouldn't be the responsibility of the person
who's
like,
auditioning.
it should not be,
you know, a 17-year-old that's like not even graduated college yet. Like, they were never going to say anything, and then they've been traumatized from their first in-person audition.
And if like you didn't say anything, they've probably been like, oh well, then maybe I just have to just represent myself as
and then they can't
boy,
even focus through that audition. It's just not fair. So I'm glad that I spoke up. It was terrifying, of course, but at that point I was like, I didn't even think about, oh, I'm risking a job here. It was just, you know better.
Respect.
You should have known better. Let's just sort it out. So I'm glad that worked out. But it's hard being an activist and being queer within this community. You do have to stand up for yourself a lot, but it's also about choosing your battles.
Yeah, of course.
I think that maybe we were all told this in a workshop at drama school, but I think it was that you can't change the system until you're in the system. So yeah, it's definitely been a journey, and it's still one that I'm constantly wrestling with. But I do have to say, just finding more security within myself regardless of what people say, and also diversifying my movement to cater to more masculine or more feminine styles is an art in itself, you know, because you take on that character, and I think it's very important. And if there are any younger queer people listening, to recognize that it is a character. I use they, his, hers. So
but you
you're
prefer
absolutely
they,
fine.
so
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
prefer to use that if that's what you're comfortable with.
I think that was part of the reason why I made the decision, is that people who want to make a conscientious decision can, but because I am so fluid, it just fits me, luckily. But I think it's nice, you know, to recognize people around me making that effort, and that's part of the reason why I chose that pronoun set. Just makes me feel more at home, really. But also not offended, you know, if I'm leaning a certain way. I think, though, you know, just read the room a little bit. If I'm in a mini skirt and heels with a full face on, maybe don't call me bro today. That's when it starts to feel a little bit. It starts to feel a little bit like you're trying to make an effort to make me uncomfortable.
That's so funny.
You know, and that's happened to me before. You know, I've been at heaven.
Of course, people. Like, the worst kind of people out there will make it out of their way to get it wrong, won't they?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
It's so obvious.
And it's not even like funny to anyone else. It's almost like a private joke between them and themselves. Where, you know, I've been at a club and, you know, I've been in a micro skirt and like knee-high boots with a tiny little crop top on.
Skinny
full
waist.
face of makeup. Yeah, that teeny tiny little cunty waist. And, you know, a straight man within a queer space has made the effort to be like, "You're right, bro. How's it going, man?" And I'm like, "Eh?" And yeah, trust me, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, especially within working environments. You know, all those same things can happen. But I think it is just about being secure within yourself and going about it in the proper way. And we shouldn't have to be so familiar with how to report these things. But I would say, think of it as like your little arsenal. Trust me, you're not always going to need to use it. I mean, I wish everyone listening the best of times on jobs, but please just prepare for these things mentally, and also what you can do to respond to them.
I think it helps as well that there's more celebrities that are coming out now with non-binary pronouns, just to educate other people as well. And like listening to their interviews, etc. Like Bella
Ramsey?
Bella Ramsey.
Bella.
Cruella Ramsey. Bella Ramsey.
I think I don't know if they've openly said they're non-binary, but I think they've just said, I don't really care.
Yeah.
So that's like, and they're younger as well. So like, again, for the younger demographic, it was just nicer for them.
Well, celebrities exist to form a means of trends and what's popular and accepted by society. And I think now that queer culture is living more openly, because it's always been there, but more openly within celebrity culture, we're obviously more exposed to it, because I mean 99% of our day we're just looking at, you know, Instagram and all of this, and it's generally about, you know, people in a position of influence, and I think it's a great thing. Maybe that's why it's becoming more popularized, especially with trans artists, like Kim Petras at the forefront, and you know, even the hyperpop thing, you know, they tend to go for more of a trans creative team or performance team, and I think that's maybe why spaces are changing even within the training aspect. So yeah,
have you
definitely got a point there.
Any improvement?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, good.
I think it lives within education, for sure. Like learning, you know, in masculine spaces within hip hop, and having people group me, you know, with the girls group this time, because I was wearing a crop top and I was dancing it more effeminate.
I also hope they're teaching it more at like unis.
That's one thing that we just don't know.
We don't need boy day and girl.
I know, it's so hard to get an insight on that once you're out of that world.
So
hey guys, write in, send us an email.
Please.
But I remember when we were leaving uni, it was like the last year of uni, they started doing pronouns at the end of their emails, which is that was new.
But I think that was I think a product of COVID. When it was, we would have a lot of guest teachers, and when you're on a Zoom call, it's just like literally your little square with your little face in it, and then your name, and obviously it was just
you
so
can't
much
see
easier,
my
so
fishnets.
More accepting for everyone if it was just included in that, and then it became included in the emails, and then blah 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 blah, which obviously is a positive thing. But I think it does make me wonder, like, well, that sped up the progression because of a specific environment. Is that speed of progression continued, or has it not?
I just hope they're not doing like the boy groups and girl groups that you're saying in a dance round.
Yeah, it's just, do you want to learn these skills or these skills? Maybe you want to do one term of these skills and one term of these skills, and everyone will come out better for it because you will have a more.
I think it's also just
training.
the approach, isn't it? Like you know, it feels like okay, well the routine today leans more into like a masculine kind of energy, and it's quite aggressive. Not saying you know that, but traditionally those are masculine. You know, I think it's important just being like, have fun with it, but just lean into it. If it's not you at all, feel make ridiculous. Make a character. And it's only going to diversify how much you can work and explore. And I think also by learning, you know, to be masculine, I found more comfortability within my queerness, because I was like, maybe I do have like certain elements of this side to me that, you know, you're not just in one category. Exactly, and I think it kind of made me even more queer rather than the whole thing that I was terrified of. More queer? No! Which I think burn on the stake. That my biggest fear was that, like, you know, I'm gonna have a breakdown, I'm gonna feel like I'm back in that closet and that I'm have to be this man again. And then actually I came out of it and I was like, you know, that was actually kind of fun. It felt like I was playing like a caricature of it. You know, you start to find that balance and then it blends into your personality and you're like, wait, I'm even more, you know, diversified in terms of my gender identity now, because I've explored different parts of it and I've gone to those like dark places and found a love for the fact that, you know, I do have masculine things. And like even going to the gym and doing stuff like that makes me so happy now. That's so good. You know, and if I'd never have explored that and kind of shied away from that masculine side of me, I don't think I would be the kind of artist or person that I am today, for sure.
Incredible.
Do you want to talk to us about cruise ships?
Yeah, because
we've not Jordan will never be able to do one.
I can one day. This is like a running joke because but to work a lot.
Hold up.
To work on a cruise ship, because it is. Shut up. Because there's.
I definitely shouldn't have been working there then.
But no, for a lot of cruise ships to work on them, there are extensive health checks, and there are 1,000,001 reasons why it might not be right for you.
No, so I started doing cruise ships 2 years ago now. Yeah, I think so. Which was
love a professional credit.
Woo! And yeah, I did 2 stints, 2 contracts across 2 years of 3.5 months. And I've travelled the UAE, which was incredible, and the Mediterranean, and the second time that I went, it was like different stops in the Med as well, which was incredible because I got to see even more of Central Europe.
And at one point, on a little stop in the Med.
Oh my God, yeah, how random. It was so funny. Jordan was like vacationing in Marseille with her boyfriend's family, and I had a stopover in Marseille. I'd never gotten off. And because our ports changed every 2 weeks, some of them, and Marseille was one of them. It wasn't one that we always went to. And it just landed on that week, you know, because I think you were leaving like 2-3 days after I
Something like that.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was gorgeous.
And I think that was one of my last time, or maybe my last time in Marseille before I left the ship.
I believe so.
Yeah, it was just really weird.
It was so cute.
Yeah, it was great. It was. It was very strange though.
Yeah,
like,
it was.
You know,
was
like being like, oh yeah, this is my mate from.
And you're in another country.
Not Brum, Bristol. That I met in like Marseille.
Yeah, I just remember like being sat there like catching up with you on everything that was going on the cruise ship, and then every now and then we'd just be like,
we're in Marseille. Yeah, it was so weird.
We used to like catching up and
I was like, oh, I've got to go back now because else the big boat that I live on might leave me here. And as much as I would like this, I need to go home.
Yeah, so obviously cruise ships, you're in a very small space. You are doing a job that you love. You are living the dream. You are being paid to perform, which is
that's great. That's a great part of it. Yeah.
But it is a very specific, very contained environment. How was that for you?
So first thing getting used to is definitely set meal times. If you miss the meal times, guess what? You ain't fucking eating.
Hungry, bitch.
Very that. I mean,
the thing that come out with that is
So obviously
and that's
when
the
you're
drama school brain talking, and we don't endorse that kind of
No,
behavior or those thoughts.
No.
We've moved past it.
Skinny's a mindset, honestly.
We're gonna have a big burger after this.
We actually
Bite burger. So that's definitely the main thing to get used to, because I've always struggled with eating, which isn't something to get into now. But going into, first of all, a buffet, which is terrifying to me. I don't know why.
God.
It's just a lot of food in your face that other people have been touching, and yes, it's sanitary, but I don't know. As someone who struggles with food,
Also,
it was just horrible.
As well.
Oh
like,
God,
overwhelming.
veganism. Mm-mm.
I would be dead.
There were people that instantly came on, tried 2 days, and they were like, well, guess I'm vegetarian now, because everything has cream. It's all like preserves and everything like that. So yeah, dairy just kind of like lives in like leaves. It's weird.
Dairy lives in the leaves.
But yeah, that's definitely something to get used to, because of
that
course
sounded like a fart.
That was a mug.
Oh, it sounded like
It was a mug moving on the table.
it was
Anyway.
you.
You're the only one that
You're the only mug here. So yeah, obviously restaurants that are for the customers, they get precedence over. If you're unlike me and just get in with the maitre d's that do the restaurants, you're basically not going to eat there unless you go to like the fish restaurant no one goes to. So that's weird. Also, as a performer, wow, do you have a lot of free time? I mean, we were always told not to say that, because like we get paid every day that
They're
we're
coming
on board.
through the door.
But we love
I
to
would
spill
generally
secrets here and
have
acting up.
like 2
Period.
days off per week.
Oh damn.
And I would
nice.
only sometimes I'd work for like 6 hours a day,
Yeah.
including hair and makeup. But most days it was just like 3 hours. Like I go do my hair and makeup for an hour. I do a 2-hour show, which mainly consisted of improv and a 5-minute dance section with Ariel.
Which could sound amazing, but when you're in your own little head
Oh,
for
yeah,
2
girl.
days, yeah.
You wake up in the morning because you want to keep that sense of schedule, and also there's meal time, so give
You
me
need
my
to-
fucking food.
Food, yeah.
You then are awake. You can get off the ship, which is great, but days where you can't, either due to IPM, which is import manning, which means that a certain amount of staff have to remain on the ship for safety
Right.
reasons, or you're just at sea that day, because obviously the ship makes more money.
Can't jump into the ocean.
A lot of itineraries don't actually require a sea day, but the cruise ships put an extra one in, because if you're on board, you're spending money on the ship, like in the casino and everything.
All bump the air, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Clever
Tea.
thinking.
So my first year we had 2 sea days, and on those days, God, it was hard. Like a lot of people would sleep like until like 4, because there's no windows
Yeah.
or anything in the cabin, so you would just like kind of
You don't
conk
actually know what
out,
time it is, yeah.
and then you would wake up, shower, go eat, and then you'd go do your performances and then drink and then go to sleep. Not that we would drink lots, because that would be illegal. Anyways, so yeah, I tried to keep like a sense of routine, but honestly, waking up at like 9-10 o'clock and then not even getting in hair and makeup until 6 at night, like on a sea day, like you just go upstairs, you would get your coffee. Like I was never really a breakfast kind of girl anyways. So I go up to the top deck, get a coffee, smoke far too many cigarettes, because they were like £1 for a pack on board, because they're tax free. I know, crazy.
Do not smoke, kids.
Yeah, don't smoke. I'm trying to quit. Actively, I've been doing quite well recently.
You did quit. I would say
yeah.
you did quit.
Yeah, for sure.
It's okay to
And
have
you're
it.
gonna
A
re-quit.
little slip up, yeah.
It was a holiday.
We're all human.
Yes.
Not me.
Not me though. I'm better than all of y'all.
I'm very different.
Okay.
That's why they won't let me on the cruise ship, because I'm not from Earth.
Just because I'm better than you.
Ew.
Carrying
on.
Alien superstar. Yeah, so then I go up, have my coffee, my cigarettes, and then you kind of like see everyone else. You'd like chit chat and you'd talk about going to the gym, but then you wouldn't actually go to the gym until like 2-3 o'clock. And then you go to the gym, then you'd be like, oh God, I still have so much time. And also dinner doesn't even open until 5. So, you know, I can't just go eat.
Sorry, I have a really important question. Like, how would you snack? Like,
You don't.
between meal times?
Really?
No snacking.
Okay, so I would throw myself off.
There are like crew stores within like crew areas where they open at very specific hours. So say like from 12 till 1 you can go and stock up on snacks, but first of all you don't have a fridge, and also if you don't like buy your own pegs like an organized person, which I'm definitely not, especially at that time, Jesus, like everything would go stale, and you just never seem to have enough to like keep you entertained. Because I think a lot of us use snacking as just a form of entertainment in between meals. But babe, I just never snacked ever. Like the only time I would snack was when we were upstairs at the end of an evening. You just want like little beer snacks or something. But yeah, during the day, like no, you just wait for the meal times. And sometimes you're absolutely starving, so you'd go and like sneak into the passenger area, because sometimes when it was really busy, they were like just try and stay out passenger areas if it's not essential. We'd go like to the vending machines because they all had the good stuff. And especially when the crew ones were broken on my second contract, they were always broken. I was always so hungry. And yeah, sometimes because of where our performance lies as well, we didn't have time to do hair and makeup and then go eat before the show on a 2-show day. So we'd have to eat like afterwards at like 11 o'clock. It was hot.
That's not nice.
Yeah.
No.
It's really hard. Like you have to definitely buy into the schedule, because when I first went, I had been in London for 6 months. I was like super rebellious. I was free from university. I was free from, this, I could do whatever I wanted to do. And then I went on to my first job, and it was the most regimented I think I've ever lived in my life. I was like, jeez, can't even eat when I want, I can't go outside when I want to. Like I'm trapped here. And if you're sick, especially because it was post-COVID and it was, a German culture within the ship, it was like, if you're slightly sick, you stay in your room. And it's like that freedom's just gone because you're under contract. If you're on that ship, you're under maritime safety regulations, as well as like the contract that you signed for employment. So there's like 2 things that you're under. So yeah, and obviously the ranking thing's weird, because in day-to-day life, you have the police above you or whatever, but like it's freedom of speech, you can do what you want. But on board, like you would get like disciplinaries if you like spoke to someone the wrong way that was above your rank, because it's kind of like living constantly within a company. So say if you were to go live at your jobs, and that you have like your line managers above you, they're constantly around. So even in your leisure time, it's like if you guys went for like drinks in the evening, but your manager was like at the other table every single night, that's what it was. So yeah, it was really hard to get used to. But babe, when you buy into that and you just settle into like working 3 hours a day for a very cushy paycheck, and you're filling your time with sunbathing, gym, and then once you get over the food, or you get in with the people at the restaurants, you're eating better. I gained good weight, I was working out, then you get off the ship, spend all your paycheck, living an absolute the life, shopping, like nice meals. And yeah, you have to be back on board for a certain time, but it was a very small price to pay. There was my second contract, after I knew what to expect and I like had the preparation in the packing. Oh my God, I would wish everyone had that experience. It's so freeing to like travel. And the sense of schedule works well for my little brain, I think, once I bought into it.
Yeah, it seems like once you adjust,
it's kind of cruising in a nutshell, I would say.
I love that.
It's like sun, beer, traveling, get to see so many places, especially if you do like a trans cruise or a world cruise. Trans cruise is always such a funny term.
They put me on the trend.
There's a lot of benefits to it, and you're performing regardless of what that show is. Just take away that stigma of cruises, please. Let's get rid of it, because you're probably a lot happier and more stable in terms of employment doing what you love than a lot of people that are slogging it out here in London.
I'm so sorry. Let it be said now and forever that no matter where it is, what you're doing, what caliber, what level it is, if you are being paid to perform, which is what you love to do, which is what you're trained to do, if someone has gone, I'll give you money to do that, good for fucking you. Who cares?
Especially if you're
what
traveling,
level or caliber is.
Traveling the world rent free, and you don't even need to pay for food. Tax free.
Ooh,
babe. Like, why is there even a stigma? I feel like cruise people created the stigma to stop people going for the job so that we could steal them all for ourselves. Because it's so good.
Oh my God.
Like, yeah, there's just really, like, not much to complain about once you get used to it. Like, everything. It is a very drastic change, especially some people going away for 8 to 12 months. I mean, Jesus, I did 4 at a time. And, by the end of that, I was like, get me home. Great experience. Don't let it kind of slip your mind in terms of performing, because there's a lot of fun and money and life experience in it to be had.
Rhys, we love to keep it real here at Acting Up.
Oh God.
As always. You too, as a performer, as someone training, you've got a day job.
I do. What is it? So
you don't have to say what it.
You
Don't say
don't
the
have to
actual
say what
name
it is,
company.
but I just think it's important as
oh,
well. Like
I'm a bartender.
when we keep speaking about the performing world and the industry and blah blah blah, just to remind everyone
doing
something
in
it's
the
not all
this
roses
is a podcast
and,
where like the reality is
We
we've got
are
a bartender,
poor.
someone who works
Absolutely.
in a shop, and someone who makes coffees. Like
that's
what we're doing
I make
most
some
of the
good
time.
coffees.
I make
Just to
some
keep it
banging
real.
cocktails, can't lie. Yeah, no.
Boom. Let's
I think
open a
it's
cafe.
important with your 9 to 5 to choose either something that you like or that you have an interest in, because I had an interest in bartending, but I was always, again, kind of fighting that system of like, I don't want to be too good at this because then, like, you know, I'm never going to perform. That's so stupid.
You're in the audition room and they're like, we can't hire them. They're way too good at making martinis.
Just honestly apply yourself to your 9 to 5 the same way that you would, like, you know, in terms of passion, in terms of hours and like effort and mental health. Don't sacrifice anything, please. There's so many jobs within hospitality, retail, etc. But if you find yourself in a nice place and you want to get better, you want to improve your skill set, maybe climb a tree that, you know, just means more pay with not much more commitment.
Yeah.
You know, do it. I think it adds to your person, and it shows and kind of shows to yourself, more importantly, that you are a person that is a hard worker, that can apply themselves. You've learned a new skill set, and trust me, being a barista, being an effective communicator within customer service or mixology, you can use those in performing. I mean, Tom Holland,
do, like,
Uncharted, learning to flare cocktails.
I'm
also
acting when I'm serving customers.
Absolutely.
Have you auditioned to play a barista before?
Yeah, I have.
And trust me, if you know,
I did. I was the barista in Melodrive. She is a barista.
Well, there we go.
Boom.
Real
Full
world
circle.
life skills application.
Coming off the back of that as well, if you know how to deal with like the most horrible customer that you've ever had in your life, if you book your dream job and it turns out that the choreographer or the director is an absolute piece of shit, guess who knows how to deal with that? You someone
you're the baby.
someone who's constantly living around people that are so heavily curated and they never have to like make an effort with them. You will struggle when, you know, you're suddenly on a world tour with your dream artist. And, you know, because, you know, if you get to that point skills-wise, you go to an audition, they bring you on board, that's like half the battle. You still need to be a people's person. There's still going to be confrontations, especially if you're on a tour bus around the world for like
if you
a year.
want them to book you again, you've got to...
That's why so many people hire their friends, because who wants to be on a job with...
This is why so many people, when they start a podcast, the only guests they have are their friends. Because A, they don't know anyone else, and B, it's such a fun little chat.
What was A again?
Anyways. Right. We need to start wrapping this up because we could talk forever. And also,
I need a burger.
We need to go and get
I need a bloody, an honest burger.
An honest burger.
Honestly, I need a burger.
Right. To wrap it up, Rhys, can you tell us the highlight of your
podcast
life as an artist? Shut up, Megan. Your highlight of, it doesn't have to be like a professional credit, it doesn't have to be your professional career, but just yourself as an artist. What has a highlight been so far, and what do you hope to do
go
and maybe like one word of wisdom for our listeners, and then we'll kiss them goodbye.
This is gonna sound so fucking corny, but I would say like the highlight is every time I look back and see the growth to where I am now. So every time I watch that old dance video, every time I think about that very confused young child that didn't know where they were going with life, and I look at maybe something that I'm, you know, so critical of now, and I think, oh my god, like you've built this, you've done this, you know, with the help of others, of course, like anything, but yeah, that's definitely the highlight.
I love that.
Nice.
I love that.
Where do I want to be? Like,
what are you off to?
Of course, I want to be paid. I mean, that's essential. You want to be paid for what you love to do.
Please.
Like, you know, I don't think it's about being rich. I think it's about maintaining a lifestyle that allows me to live within art.
I think it's also being like, myself as an artist, I am good enough, I am qualified enough, and I am giving enough that I deserve to be paid for it. And the paycheck isn't just money, it is a recognition that I am a professional and that my creations are of a quality that I deserve to get paid for it. What a feeling.
Yeah,
I think feeling.
Or to put that into other words, that art is worth you know, giving the people who create the art or perform the art the means to live a good life and a good lifestyle. You know?
I feel like as well, so much when you're a performer or a creative, the money that you get when you are lucky enough to be paid for your art, always ends up going back into the art, back into more training, more creating.
I think that's the point.
Like
there's always
in a nutshell is definitely that the goal is money to live within art. I think that is the sole purpose that I would want to make money, is to live a great lifestyle that allows me to completely and utterly like delve into my own artistry, and unfortunately money is just one of the required things for that.
So. And that's why we need these working class voices on this podcast
as well, to do passion projects, things that I care about, that would all come from this. But I think it's just keep growing as well, keep learning, keep building. I mean, that you're never going to know everything, so why stop now? You might as well just keep going and going until
always learning.
You can't anymore.
No matter how old you are, you're always learning.
Absolutely.
That is invaluable.
I want to say thank you, Rhys.
Thank you
for coming on.
Thank you so much for having
Thank you for
me.
being our first guest.
Yes, I feel very like humbled and slightly terrified that that's true.
Killed it.
No, you did. Like, thank you for like also
for England,
bringing
Scotland,
more
and
representation onto this pod.
Absolutely.
And I'm hoping people who have listened to this or they also relate with Rhys's story, that you feel heard and everything like that. And do speak out if you have that comfortability.
Yeah, please.
If someone is using your pronouns wrong.
And if you're someone who is cisgender and uses the pronouns that the society as it is would assume that you use, you can also be the one to speak out when you see people around you being mistreated.
But thank you for listening, everybody.
And thank you so much, Rhys, for your candidness and for
being open with us as well. Thank you.
Intimate and open with us. We love you endlessly, and obviously you are here for a reason. We thought you had something incredible to share, and you did.
I'm still waiting.
All the tea has been spilled. I have no more tea, literally. It's all gone.
Thank you so much for listening to Acting Up with your hosts, Megan Alderson and Jordan Skidmore. You can find us on Instagram as at jordan.skids and at Megan __ Megan underscore. Megan. Shut up. You're not meant to be in this bit. Megan _Alderson with an A. You can find Rhys Tinney on Instagram as
at Rhys Tinney, RHYSTINNEY.
Gorgeous. And if you want to follow the podcast on any socials, you can find us as at Acting Up the Podcast. Our artwork is by Jules, who is at thosewho.try on Instagram. We love you. Thank you. See you next week.
Bye.